Okay, so there you have it. That's just one of the times that he was doing this, where he was sort of reaching up. You can tell he's trying to grab at something. The daughter of the man in that video sent me an email and also said that 14 days prior to his death, they placed him into a medically induced coma. So basically palliatively sedated him so he could be very comfortable at the end of his life. And he still woke up every once in a while to tell her that her grandfather was there. So his father was visiting him, per what he was saying. To me, that's a great example of visioning. Now, I'm so surprised that it happened while he was like in a medically induced coma, but I still think it's so lovely and so comforting. And she actually wrote that this video was one of those moments. So one of those moments when he actually woke up and said either his grandfather was there or come to me and was reaching, she actually caught that moment on camera. So the moment that you saw in that video was one of those moments. Now, they have that little mesh thing over him, I think because you could see he was trying to kind of get up. And a lot of times when someone's in a facility, they have to make sure that they are safe and they're not going to fall. So they do all these different precautions to try to keep the person in bed, keep them safe. Now, when the person is in this transitional phase, where they're kind of in this reality and not in this reality, they can do things like try to get out of bed and actually call to people to, hey, come get me, come to me, like help me up, because they're seeing things that we aren't seeing. To me, I wouldn't categorize this as like terminal agitation because he's not agitated. And he doesn't seem very restless either. He seems like he's really seeing someone or something and trying to hug them or touch them. The daughter said it was a very beautiful thing. So the daughter who was watching this and recording, her father said he did this many times. He was talking to his loved ones who were there. He was saying, come to me. And it was very comforting for her and for him. Now, like I said before, we don't know why these things happen, but what I will say is they are not happening because of lack of oxygen. That's one big thing people always say. Oh, someone had not enough oxygen to their brain, so they're hallucinating. That is not what's happening. Now, people's oxygen does drop at the end of life, particularly in the actively dying phase, but people are not usually doing the reach or the stare or the visioning during the actively dying phase. They are doing it before the actively dying phase when their oxygen level is usually fine. A lot of times they say, oh, it's because of medication. Many times I have seen people have delirium, have delusions, have hallucinations because of medication or because of the disease they have. Stuff like visioning, the death stare, the death reach, all those things look much different than what it looks like when someone has delirium or when someone is hallucinating because of medications. I have seen what that looks like, and it doesn't look like this. So I always like to talk about like the reasons why, the things that it is not. Another thing people always say, oh, it's DMT being released. That's a great theory, but we don't know that. People say that. Maybe that could be why, and maybe that could be why. Who knows? But what I do know is we don't know that for sure. And either way, I just think it's wonderful that it's comforting. Whether it's biological or chemically induced or really happening, it doesn't really matter to me, because what matters to me is the comfort of the person dying and the loved ones around them. And these things make them feel more comfortable, and I love that. Thank you so much to the follower who was willing to share this with me and now the rest of the world. I so appreciate you. Let me know in the comments if you've experienced something like this. I'm curious to know how frequently this happens.